Prosperity Talks. It's been a while, and I'm super excited because today we have a truly inspiring guest joining us. She's also a friend and a client, and we're going to welcome her today, my friend Jenna Longmire. Jenna is a licensed psychotherapist, a healer, and a talented singer-songwriter. She also serves as a divine feminine mentor and priestess guide, and is the founder of the Tree of Life Temple and Mystery School. Jenna has dedicated her life to seeking the ways of the great mystery and understanding the root of human suffering. For the past 30 years, she has deeply explored feminist spirituality and the divine feminine while studying somatic, shamanic, and energetic healing modalities. She shares her profound insights on spiritual awakening through her teaching curriculum, her memoir, and her beautiful music, which, by the way, she started writing at the age of 40 and performing around Nashville. I mean, how cool is that? Recently, following 2 Saturn returns, which I have no idea what that means, so I can't wait for her to tell us. And these Saturn returns prompted radical life changes. Jenna sold her Nashville home of 23 years to embrace a nomadic lifestyle. My kind of woman. She now lives fully in the present moment, surrendering to her intuition and proving that it is never too late to take a risk and follow your soul's true alignment. Perfect for Soulful Prosperity Talk. And her most important message for us today is a powerful one: embodying the divine within to awaken the world without. Let's welcome Jenna. I'm so excited. There she is.
Jen?
How was your intro? I do okay?
Yes, thank you so much. I do have to say, though, I'm constantly working on being in the present and surrendering. I can't say that I'm there all the time.
It's a practice, right? Like we always say, it's a practice. It's a practice, but that is your intention, which is beautiful. So I love it. All right. So this is Soulful Prosperity Talks, and we basically want to hear your story. We want to hear what you've overcome, the whole journey to get to where you are today. And we want to understand Saturn returns in the process.
I'll
So
do my
take it
best.
away.
Yes. Well, so you want to hear about just how I came into this soulful prosperity business mindset?
Absolutely. Your journey through the songwriting and Nashville and where you are today. Absolutely. Want to hear it all.
Well, I would say it started in college. Would be kind of my first awakening experience to the things you mentioned in my intro. And that was through women's studies courses. I couldn't get enough of women's studies, feminist psychology. Ended up settling on a psychology major. Decided that the music thing was, not stable enough. So my other big interest is psychology and spirituality. So I would say in college, I really woke up to the fact that women had not had a voice, and that, oh gosh, we live in an overculture of patriarchal power over where certain groups have been marginalized, women, minority groups, LGBT. So, that became my passion in college and in grad school. And then when I graduated with my master's and moved out to Arizona, that's when I really got into the alternative healing, the mysticism, the divine feminine, became a Reiki master and really, really got awakened to this spiritual path, which, a lot of people that come to me as clients have had some religious abuse, wounding, things that have really, messed them up in terms of the way they were raised religiously. But I didn't have that. It just kind of didn't land with me. It was just like, it just didn't do much for me. And then when I really awakened to this divine feminine concept of we are the goddess, we are divine beings, and a piece of this is ours to express. That really landed with me, and particularly our connection to the earth and being a bridge between spirit and the physical world. So that was my first Saturn return, that happens in your late 20s, where I just decided at that time I really wanted to, get into sustainable living, live off the grid, really take care of the planet, because I saw all these things coming down and I was like, yeah, we're not getting it. We're really seeing ourselves as separate from each other. And so I set out on that trajectory, and then I kind of got off track and got really obsessed with career and fell into the materialism of our culture, and none of that was bad. It was just
part of the experience.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I love it. So how did you end up building this business that you have now? And the music.
Well, see, I started out with the psychology career, had struggled with a lot of burnout. So that got me really into the holistic stuff, the energy healing, and doing my own spiritual work along with the therapy. Because I believe we need to be doing our own therapy and our own healing as healers. Because all of us are wounded, or we wouldn't have been attracted to this work. And so having a foot in each world, a foot in Western medicine, psychology, where I'm a clinician and I have to diagnose people, and then being in this more mystical occult world, I had to navigate that. And then through some health issues, that really awakened me. And then finally, with the turn of the political leadership in our country, I decided I really needed to do something like right away. So that lit a fire under me. And in 2017, I started leading my own women's circles out of my therapy practice office, and did those in person for up until that was a few years. And then had a big experience after having breast cancer in 2019, where I received a big download about the mystery school, and that was my soul work. And it was very clear. And, looking back, it was, very ungrounding at the time. And I knew I needed a lot of assistance with the business realm, because I'd always just kind of run my business, just kind of, I guess I have enough clients to pay my mortgage or whatever. I wasn't business or money minded so much back then. And so I hired a business coach at the end of 2019, going into 2020, to help me establish the mystery school and go online with my business. And then we went into lockdown. So, okay. Good timing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So was that your second Saturn return?
Yes. You have that in your late 50s.
Okay. So tell us, I don't know what a Saturn return is, right? And I consider myself pretty into, mysticism, but I'm a spiritual mutt.
Yeah.
So tell us about a Saturn return.
It's, I'm not going to do a great job because I'm not an astrologer, but it's when Saturn returns in your chart, and it happens twice. I guess if you live long enough, it'll happen a third time, but it happens in your late 20s, right around 28, 29, 30, and then the same thing in your late 50s. Saturn is a planet that blows everything up. So it's kind of like everything is up for review. Everything you've done, you're looking at, is this the way I want to continue? And so it can be a time of really reinventing yourself. So
wow. I don't know about anybody that's listening, but I can totally see that in my late 20s and my earlier 50s. But I went through menopause really early, so maybe it returned early. I love that. So what's the experience been since things shut down, building this business? Tell us.
Right. I mean, that gets into more kind of the personal side of things because once I closed down my psychotherapy practice, I decided to devote everything to building the Priestess Temple and places to train women in these mystery school teachings because I wasn't seeing a lot out there that resonated with me personally. So I decided to create it. So I moved away from psychotherapy for a little while, gave up my in-person office, moved entirely online during the pandemic. And I was also kind of sitting around my house going, wow, I don't really need to be here anymore. like I can go anywhere. I'm a single woman living in, it's not like a huge house or anything, but like 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, three bedroom, 2-bath house. And I'm just like, I don't need all this. Like, what am I doing? So it started that whole process of like, well, how do you want your life to look then?
Yeah, so. I love that. And so what did you do?
Started slowly, divesting of belongings and just slowly started getting prepared to leave Nashville. I had been there a long time and I love it. And, I had gotten into the music scene, like you said, in my 40s and played around. But it was very difficult to maintain those two things. And a really busy, really time-consuming project like music that doesn't often make income. So I wanted to really figure out a way to be able to do both and devote more time because I really want to write more. I want to publish. I want to write things like that. So I was like, how am I going to do this? I need to really change up my lifestyle. So I had a roommate for a while. And then finally I just decided to go ahead and sell. And even though I didn't know where I wanted to be next, I decided I wanted to travel. I love travel and figure it out in an organic sort of way without necessarily how I've always done it. You're like, oh, well, we know we're going to move here and we're going to get a job first and all that kind of thing. It's very different.
Wow. I love it. And so have you found a way, because it sounds like you have two callings, right? Two purposes in a sense, but really my gut is telling me it probably is the same. Have you found a way to merge this musical calling with this healing calling?
I am working on it. Yeah. Yes, I have, and in the last, since I took this on, this new way of being in my business, I've released a few songs that are really inspired by the divine feminine and the work that I'm doing. So definitely the work I'm doing is inspiring the music. I think the music can inspire the divine feminine work too. So I think it's getting there.
Well, and that is such a trend. I just bought 3 tickets to Lincoln Jesser. Do you know who Lincoln Jesser is?
I've heard of him, but yeah.
So he does house music, but it's healing house music. I have no one that wants to come with me because it's so like it's just not everyone's thing, right? So but then there's also, have you ever heard of a beautiful chorus? Beautiful chorus?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of, right, that Pachi Mama song. I forget who sings that. But anyway, there's a real calling for that kind of music now. I think people are just so craving things that soothe our soul and just make us feel good. So I'm confident you're gonna figure that out and you're gonna land in some like beautiful space that really merges both of them. So tell us about the divine feminine. And this is another thing. It's like I know it kind of, I understand it. I know who, for me, I keep who I consider divine feminine around me. I have Mary Magdalene and Kuan Yin, who's actually Kuan Yin is in different cultures can be a man or a woman, but Kuan Yin in my world is a woman, and Saint Martha is another one. So, so I have my idea of what it means, but if you could give us a little more insight to what does that mean, the divine feminine?
Sure. I'll talk about it in a more kind of philosophical sense,
Yeah.
or theological sense. I think that what most of us were raised with in the Abrahamic religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, would be the patriarchal God, that we as humans are separated from the divine, and we're here, there's kind of this idea that we are supposed to suffer and work hard and be good, and then we get to heaven and have salvation, or then we get to this better place. Whereas what really resonates with me about indigenous spiritual teachings, which are very aligned with divine feminine, is about bringing this down to earth, really embodying the divine, which that was all what Mary Magdalene, in a way, was talking about. I mean, she did talk about receiving God and us being a vessel for the divine, but I feel like that got left out because,
of course,
it was in the interest of the leaders that we be dependent on priests or religious leaders to show us the way, or gurus. And so for me, the divine feminine is coming back to the circle, right? In indigenous teachings, the circle is about no hierarchy. We're all equal sitting in a circle. There's no one up on a pulpit or on a pedestal, even though we do have leaders,
right,
within, facilitators that gain their status or their leadership through their experiences. But it's never a thing where, you need that person to get there. I mean, we have access directly to the divine. And so I believe that the divine feminine really, spirituality really emphasizes that eminence coming into the body, the indwelling divine, versus we have to leave the body or transcend the body to be able to connect with the divine. And there's also the relational piece, which I feel like is really important with the divine feminine, in that we stay in relationship to the other. So whoever that is, whether it's another person or the earth, we are in relation. We're constantly staying in relationship to, rather than objectifying or seeing it as a means to an end, which is the way we've done the planet. Let's see how much we can get out of this, or let's see, it's a money thing. Whereas in divine feminine philosophy or approach, we look at everything as connected, and whatever we do,
like a mutual, like loving, supportive type of way of looking at everything, right? Whether, wow. I love that, because I am very much, I believe in heaven on earth. I believe that we get to tap into that divine at any moment. And, I had experiences for most of my childhood where I felt the disconnection. I felt that, like, I would experience that. I'd get in the car, whichever parent driving. They were divorced since I was born, basically. So get in the car and we'd be driving, and like a gas station would only appear for us and the gas. And then when I would leave, the gas station would leave, and even the car and the parent, like all of that would just appear, and then it would be gone. And that basically I was alone, and all of this just kind of appeared before me. It was a very strange experience that I had for most of my childhood. And so now having access, and I guess we can call it the divine feminine or the divine, is so soothing, right? It's just, I never feel alone. I never feel unloved or any of that stuff anymore that I felt so much as a childhood and in my childhood. And so that's part of, now I can see that brought me to where I am in my purpose and my understanding. But I do love the whole divine feminine movement. Now, where do men fit into the divine feminine?
Yeah, I think they need it just as much as we do. And I do work with men one-on-one. I don't have any men's groups yet, but I think we have to lead this movement, because I believe if the women take their power back, the men are going to just step up. I mean, they're wired to support us. That is that is the divine masculine, is supporting, helping provide the structure for us to create. And they have divine feminine in them too. They can create.
We have divine masculine. I had to work on raising my divine feminine side. I was so heavy in survival mode, in that hunter-gatherer, protects, space for so long. So I spent a lot of time working on that. So I would imagine, that's the same for anybody. We have both, and it's a matter of, what you're focusing on and how it's manifesting in your life, I guess. Yeah, I love that, because I know men must feel like when we talk about the divine feminine, like, wait, what does that mean for us? I think that I don't know. I wonder where that started, like where, women just became like disempowered. I can't think of a better word for it, where, what a shame, because the gifts that we have, that women have, the intuition and the knowing, could really be put to use right now.
Yes, I know. And I think we're redefining feminism, because I know a lot of women have kind of a negative reaction to the word feminist, and I think it's because kind of back when I was experiencing that in like the 80s and 90s, it was a lot of this. I just remember the bumper sticker about a woman without a man is like a fish without a bicycle or something. And it was just like, no, that's dumb. That, like, I don't believe that. We do need men. We need them, and they need us. But the old feminist, I think, approach was, unfortunately, a lot of women became masculine. They took on the masculine traits. Right.
Yes. No, yeah, you're totally right. But, the pendulum swings all the way, and then, we'll typically settle into a good space. So I think that a lot of women did some amazing things for us, even in going to those extremes. And, now it's time to embody that feminine side and really understand what it means, and get that education out there, so that nobody feels threatened and nobody feels like this is the natural order of things, and it's okay if you have more feminine and you have more masculine. It's just a matter of what you want, right? And who you are and what you're meant to be. And like I said, I spent a lot of time working on the feminine side. For me, I was singing and dancing and creating and just not having structure to everything, because I've always been, so structured. I still am, but with a softer, more creative touch to it. So it's been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful process. Yeah, I actually read a book, and I wish I can remember the name of it. It was something about a relationship with money. And this woman, she worked with a lot of tribes in Africa. She worked with Mother Teresa for a really long time, and she ran this big not-for-profit. And there was this tribe in Africa, and they had no water, and this one woman just kept saying, I know there's water underneath right here. We need to dig. We need to dig. We need to dig. And it was like, many, many years before they finally listened to her, and boom, they got water. It's like, so that woman's intuition has been so neglected and so ignored for so long. So how do you see the divine feminine coming in and changing things in our world right now?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, just to back up to what you said about kind of needing to work more on your feminine side, and I feel like I've needed to work more on my masculine side, and could be too soft and too accommodating or deferring or whatever. So I feel like the work now is, how are we empowered, fierce, boundaried, and strong, without slipping over into the colonizing, taking over control, domination. But I feel like this is the work I'm doing right now, is really holding my own energetically, because I think it all goes back to energy. I know
that's the work. Everybody going within. That's the work. That's it. It really is. Like, that's what it boils down to. If we all stop like looking externally, and really going within and understanding who we are and why we're here, and being able to listen to our own intuition, I think that's the work. It's really that simple, right? We're not just, we've kind of been divided down into two categories at this point. You're either over here or over there, three, or you're in the middle, completely lost, right? Which is just crazy, right? We're all beautiful, unique individuals with our own gifts, and we're not even understanding what they are. We're not taking the time to just have that quiet space to go within and listen. And I've shared about the beautiful experience I was able to have with my mom at the end of her life, and that was all intuition. But it took a lot of time. I mean, even after 7 years in a Buddhist priest training program, and I've been meditating probably like 17 years on a daily basis. It took all that time to get to a place where I could really hear that intuition like I did in this experience. It was so I just knew everything, exactly what the right thing to do is. And so imagine a world where we were all going within every single day, and we were listening to our intuition, and we weren't influenced by all the things that we are exposed to on a daily basis. Does that sort of describe divine feminine movement in a sense?
Very much so. You've probably heard the Hermetic saying, as above, so below.
Yes.
As within, so without. It's like we're a microcosm of the macro.
Yes.
And that's non-duality, that's divine feminine, that's Kabbalah, that's Buddhism. I think when you get to the core, like we've talked about. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. So tell us what it's like to work with you.
Well, let's see. I would say that although we do have to start with story, there's always some kind of context, just like you wanted to know a little bit of my story.
Yeah.
Before we got into the philosophy part. So there's getting the story, but I call my work a bottom-up approach as opposed to a top-down. So what I mean by that is we're not focusing on the head, like we're not analyzing, problem solving. I mean, there's some of that, obviously, right. but it's more of a bottom up. So let's go down into the body. Let's see if we can get you inside so that you can listen and get clear guidance from your body. And with all my clients, we do pretty much all of them. I would say we do some sort of what I call field work, where we're going into a healing space, that would be considered kind of a multi-dimensional space, or just a space between the worlds where we can do soul work. And so we'll do whatever feels right for that client. It might be constellations work where we're kind of reorganizing an internal system. It could be work in ancestral lines. I have a lot of clients who are coming in that are kind of the first one in their family lineage. I'm sure you're one of these too, Jen, like the lineage breakers, the ones that, so I like to look at things in the big picture sense. Like, this is not just you in this lifetime, this is you carrying DNA in your body many generations, right?
I feel like that's what that meant in my childhood. Like, that's what it was telling me. Like, you are separate in some ways. This is it. Like, this is the line. Cross over it. Like, I don't know. I get different mixed messages, but very much I understand what you're saying. I feel like the work that I am doing is, because at first, of course, I was motivated by my daughters, right? And my granddaughter then. But then I began to realize I'm healing. I'm healing all of the ancestors that came before me. Because when you look at the lineage, there's so much suffering, so much suffering. So I love that. Right. I love that. So you get into these multi-dimensional space coming from the top down, and what are most people looking for when they come to you?
Yeah, I mean, I do have people that, we don't do this multidimensional thing so much. We are really focusing on having them feel safe in their body. If they've had a lot of trauma, we do that first, making sure they can regulate themselves. And then we might go in and do more of the other deeper work once they feel really safe in their bodies. So I have people that come in wanting to, like, right away go into the deeper work, maybe develop a spiritual practice, find ways to access their spiritual resources more fully. I'm very client focused, so I use whatever they relate to. And people I would say most of my clients are definitely working on breaking multi-generational patterns. I don't like to totally focus on trauma because that's kind of my old clinician self. So with a lot of my clients, we're kind of beyond we're not so much focusing on the trauma anymore. We're focusing on this empowerment, embodiment. And I'm teaching them to do this stuff. Like, they're doing it. I'm not doing it.
Right.
The ones that have been working with me for a long time, they can do this on their own, but it's where two or more are gathered. I love that Bible verse. It's like my favorite, like, here I am, spirit comes.
Absolutely. It's the same thing in Buddhism, having a Sangha, right? And supporting your practice with a Sangha, with, different people at different levels. Because sometimes, like, I remember when I entered the Buddhist program, I had no idea how I ended up there. Like, I was just there. Okay. Like, I just was there. And I walk into the room and I was a little bit late, and they're debating a Buddhist text. Everyone in this room had a PhD. Okay. So one thing in Buddhism is you read the one text, and then for that one text, there's like 75 minimum books interpreting the text. And so now you have all these, philosophical thinking, highly educated people debating the text. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm in the wrong room. I'm a high school dropout, just whatever, right? I'm in the wrong room. And, but I had read the book and came prepared, because that was like, you read the book and then you come and talk. And so the teacher, my Tay, all of a sudden turns to me and says, "And what do you think?" And I went right to the heart of it. And he nicknamed me Instant Noodle. Because I didn't have to have just all the different texts and this and that. I just understood it. And so, while I learned so much from everybody in that room, they also learned from me, even though I didn't have the experience and and had read all these different texts and the different versions or any of that. So I love that, because that goes back to what you were talking about earlier about the no hierarchy, but that we truly are benefiting from each other no matter where we're at. Another spiritual teacher of my Guru Singh, he's my Kundalini yoga teacher. He talks about we're in a one room schoolhouse. So everyone is in here, whether you're in pre-K or you're working on your doctorate degree, and we're all here, and we have to remember that. But we're all equal at the same time. And you're going to learn, like I learn from my granddaughter every time I spend time with her. So I love that. I love that. So if somebody wants to work with you, I'm going to put up some of your contact information here. What does that look like? You know, what are the different ways they can work with you?
They can work with me one-on-one, and we can develop an individualized program for them. And then, or I've got the group program that is getting ready to start. We've almost got enough women to start that. And it is definitely a one-room schoolhouse philosophy. There's going to be people in there of different levels of study, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't, especially with divine feminine, because it's innate. It's intuition.
Mm-hmm.
In the group, I love the one-on-one work, but in the group, there's just so much more opportunity for the dynamics between the people, and then the information that comes through the different people. And when I ran this program before, people just started really getting comfortable. And so they started opening up to their gifts, and we would, we would all share information that was coming through, and it was pretty incredible. So I'm excited to get that going again. And there will be teachings along with that too, mostly around energy management, goddess archetypes, developing your intuitive gifts.
What's my goddess archetype?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. You mentioned Kuan Yin and Mary Magdalene. I mean, I feel a lot of Mary Magdalene with you.
Yeah, totally. And Kuan Yin, I guess, just because I'm so familiar with her, and also the way that she reached enlightenment was through listening to the ocean. So that obviously very much aligns with me. And Saint Martha. Do you know anything about Saint Martha?
I don't. No.
Okay, Saint Martha is a Caribbean saint. And African, and in some cultures she's a mermaid, a siren, and in some cultures she was a woman who saved a boy, and she's a protector. So I don't know, she just follows me around, so like she just shows up and appears. So she's just become part of my divine feminine collection. I'm just doing this in like without any knowledge, right? Just all of a sudden these amazing women, spiritual leaders have just showed up in my life, and I just kind of collect them. So collect them in my heart, not necessarily, although I do have quite a few little statues and things of each. But, I can't even tell you enough to whoever's listening how important that this work is. And so there's a saying in Buddhism, there's 80,000 vessels to get to the other shore. Just get to the other shore. And so what Jenna is offering here is one of those ways to get to the other shore. So if you're looking for more peace, more freedom, more knowing, more ease in your life, and that leads to better relationships, better health, better relationship with money, all the things that we are all craving and deserving, I encourage you to reach out to Jenna. Do you offer like a call, an initial call for people to get to understand what you're doing and what you possibly would do with them? Do you
just come have a free consultation? I do those to just kind of get, because it's hard to know really. This work is hard to describe. I think that's what's taken me a while to figure it out, is just how to how to let people know they need something that they may not even realize they need, or that they may not even
Oh,
realize that they're missing.
yeah.
But
But I think that kind of describes it. Like if you're looking for more peace and more knowing and not feeling, I think a lot of women at our age start to feel like they're done. I have a funny story, okay? So I grew up in Brooklyn and I dated all Italian boys, and this one Italian boy that I was with for a really, really long time, his grandma gave me the recipes, but she did not give the recipes to the granddaughter and the daughters. They had to wait till she died, because if she gave them the recipes, she had no purpose, because she was the one who did the Sunday dinner and so on and so forth. And I feel like that is a space that happens. I think women have just been thrust into and men too. We've all been thrust into these pre-programmed roles of this is what you do and this is how you do it. And then all of a sudden that persona gets ripped away for whatever reason. The kids go off to college, or, whatever happens in your life, your Saturn returns, and you're left wondering, who am I and what am I supposed to be doing? And you feel almost, what is the word, where, taken advantage of, right? Like in a way, like you feel like nobody appreciates you, or there's just so many feelings that can happen, that this kind of work can really help get you grounded, get you centered, get you feeling good again. So I think the path that we've taken is very, very similar, but yet completely different,
Yeah. It's very counterculture, which is why I think we need support, and why people come and work with us. I think, Jen, is because the mainstream culture is not going to be talking about this kind of stuff, like choosing a soulful path, or taking care of yourself first before you tend to everybody else, which is definitely what we're taught.
Right. Well, I'd say that to me is the best gift of the divine feminine, is learning that if you're not whole, if you're not taking care of yourself first, then you can't take care of anybody else. And the tricky thing is, once you really learn, and doing this kind of work with you is self-care. Once you learn that self-care, you become better for everyone else. You're a better mother, you're a better sister, you're a better daughter, you're a better friend, you're a better coach, you're a better mentor, you're a better everything. But we don't realize that. And we're just, angry, resentful, because we're pouring from empty cups, and it's time to end that. So everyone, I highly suggest that you reach out to Jenna, get to know the work that she is doing, and see if it's something that is going to help you in your life. And I'm super excited to watch your business blow up in the best way, so that you are healing as many people as possible. Is there anything else you want to say to our audience before we take off?
Oh, just remember to be yourself. I think we are constantly thinking about how we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to present. And I know that's, what I'm here to do with you today, Jen, is just, be genuine and myself. And so just hope everyone can move in that direction and listen to your soul, because it'll keep talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. We're human beings, not human doings.
Right.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much. And everyone, I will see you soon. Have a great day.